In 1995, Oasis released Wonderwall, probably their biggest global hit of all time, which today is approaching 2 billion streams on Spotify. The song was a worldwide smash and so successful in the UK that a cover version of the same song was released literally in the same year by novelty band Mike Flowers Pops, and this song, in the same year, also reached number 2 in the UK charts. Since the 90s, the song has gone on to be played so much that it became iconic, and then cliché, and then went straight out the arse end of cliché and became a meme. The other day, I even saw an advert on Instagram for a toy figurine of a man holding a guitar, and guess what song he was singing? Wonderwall had incredible sticking power as a song. It never really seemed to go away, which led Fran Healy, the frontman of Travis, to sing in his 1999 single Writing to Reach You, "The radio is playing all the usual, and what's a Wonderwall anyway?" 4 years after the song was released, it was still relentlessly being played on the radio. And not even Fran, who is a personal friend of Noel, knew what it was about. Over the decades, countless people have sung and performed this song, almost all of them with no idea what a Wonderwall actually is. So today I want to ask that question. What the hell is a Wonderwall? Well, before we start to really dig deep, here's a few quick and easy answers to get out of the way right at the start. In the Oasis world, this is called the Wonderwall because it's the wall Noel Gallagher sat on while recording one version of the song at Rockfield Studios in Wales. And in the opening moments of the album What's the Story Morning Glory, you can hear this recording from the Wonderwall with Birdsong in the background. But, of course, this is the Wonderwall, but Noel didn't write the song about this wall. Here's the most often quoted explanation of the song from Noel himself. It's a song about an imaginary friend who's going to come and save you from yourself. But this quote only actually tells us one thing about the song. Other than paraphrasing what we already know from the chorus, Noel tells us this was written about an imaginary person. But for many years, Noel said it was written about a real person, his first wife, Meg Matthews. He just changed the story after they split. And that quote still doesn't actually answer the main question. What is a Wonderwall? On the 2nd of May 1996, a Rolling Stone article on Oasis raised this question without actually answering it in any way whatsoever. A Wonderwall can be anything, offers Liam. It's just a beautiful word. It's like looking for that bus ticket and you're trying to fucking find it, that bastard, and you finally find it and you pull it out. Fucking mega, that is my Wonderwall. Thank you very much, Liam. In actuality, Wonderwall was written for Noel's girlfriend Meg Matthews at a time when she was out of work and he wanted her to know how important she was to him. Why he chose the word Wonderwall, the title of a George Harrison solo album, is something not even Noel seems to understand. It's as though his musical inspiration comes from the Beatles, which is probably a good thing, and his lyrical muse from Dr. Seuss, which probably isn't. So there we see that Liam seemingly didn't know what a Wonderwall was. But also we see that Noel has avoided giving any kind of clear answer to the interviewer. As is so often the case with Noel, we have to kind of piece things together ourselves a little bit to get at the answer. But we do have a trail of breadcrumbs to follow because Noel has mentioned one clue several times. The word Wonderwall comes from a George Harrison solo album. So we are now starting to home in on the origins of the word Wonderwall. This was George's first solo album, recorded in 67 and 68 as the soundtrack to the film Wonderwall. And Noel Gallagher ended up using this word because he was crafting the song, as is his style, literally word by word to get it right, and he found what he was looking for when he saw a Wonderwall poster.
And that song started off, it was called a fan one night after a gig gave me, earnestly put this thing into my hand, and she closed it and she said, "That's your wishing stone." And I was like, "Oh right." She said, "You should write a song about that." And I was like, "Okay, can you let go of my hand then?" And I wrote this song, and the title was, Wonderwall for a long time was called Wishing Stone, and I thought, it's a bit of I don't know about that. And then I seen the Wonderwall poster and went, hang on a minute. Hang on, if I did you're my Wonderwall.
Both the George Harrison album and the original film are pretty obscure, so realistically that was probably a poster on his wall, meaning he was probably also familiar with both. As we've already seen, for years before they split, Noel Gallagher said in multiple interviews that this song was written about Meg Matthews, and this was Meg's understanding of this song, according to the Sunday Times in 1996. Meg says, "You can't just go up to someone and say, 'Hi, I'm Wonderwall.' It's a joke between me and all my friends, but the average Joe Bloggs doesn't know. George Harrison wrote the music to the film Wonderwall, so that's the reference. But to me, it's about being his wall of strength, his solidity." So we've talked about George Harrison's album, but that was just the soundtrack to a film, and the Wonderwall film itself, released in 1968, is a really, really unusual watch. It's an incredibly strange piece of psychedelic filmmaking, which is much closer to the abstract weirdness of the Magical Mystery Tour film by the Beatles than it is to modern day movies. In researching this video, I tracked the movie down and watched it from start to finish, and it really is a seriously bizarre watch in this day and age. But after doing a bit of digging, it turns out this is where the term Wonderwall originates. So, to define it, we have to have some understanding of the movie. It's based around the strange reclusive life of a bachelor scientist called Oscar, who lives in a cramped, book-filled flat in London. One night he throws something at the adjoining wall and accidentally reveals a hole in the wall through which light is shining. He clambers over to the hole and peers through, and through the tiny gap in the wall he sees his new neighbours, a beautiful young model by the name of Penny Lane, and her young, handsome photographer boyfriend. The more he spies on them, Oscar quickly becomes infatuated with Penny and begins making more holes in the wall to be able to watch her. Quickly, this stalkerish tendency becomes a full-blown obsession, and he stops going to work so that he can watch his neighbours through the wall. Eventually, Penny and her boyfriend fight and split up, and Penny, who has recently been told she is pregnant, attempts to kill herself. Alone in the apartment, she turns the gas on her cooker, takes a massive overdose of pills, and lies down waiting to die. Wearing a suit, a cape and a top hat, Oscar, the peeping Tom, climbs over the adjoining rooftops and breaks in. He turns the gas off and calls the police, saving her life. And then, in the final scene, we see him returning to work to rapturous applause from his colleagues, then looking into his microscope and through the lens seeing Penny Lane herself floating in the stars and beckoning him to come join her. Now, let's be honest, the idea of anyone spying on a young neighbouring couple through a hole in the wall, even watching them having sex, has not aged very well. Nor today would it be a fitting occupation for the kind of hero of this story. It is, frankly, really bloody creepy. But without getting too bogged down in the whole things were different back then conversation, let's not get distracted from the reason we're looking at this film. We're trying to answer the question, what actually is a Wonderwall? This was the original Wonderwall. Oscar, the scientist/stalker, spends the majority of the film peering through it, spying on the woman he has become besotted with. It's very like the cover from George Harrison's Wonderwall music album. On one side, all the world is dark, dank and grey, repressed and lifeless, whereas on the other side there is light, beauty and freedom. And there's one small chink of light through which those in the dark world can view their happier neighbours. And we can also see some significance and connection not only in the George Harrison album cover, but also in the Oasis single cover. Because here is that cover. It's communicating the idea of a picture hanging on a wall through which a real-life, beautiful woman can be seen. But is that just coincidence? I don't think so. According to sleeve designer Brian Cannon, he was originally doing the shot with Liam in the frame when, by a strange coincidence, Noel Gallagher drove past and stopped the photo shoot. He apparently insisted that the person visible through the picture frame had to be a woman. And why would he be so insistent on that if the picture had no connection to the meaning of the song. The cover of the Wonderwall single connects right into the original Wonderwall, Oscar the Scientist's adjoining wall in the 1968 film, through which he was able to gaze on a beautiful woman. The woman on the Wonderwall cover even has a very 60s look about her. So, now that we have established what a Wonderwall is in principle, how do we define it? On the one hand, you could say a Wonderwall is an adjoining wall in an apartment through which a creepy old stalker spies on young people having sex. But really, in the context of a romantic love song, the Wonderwall is actually a small chink of light in a dark, forbidding world. It's a little window through which someone trapped in a drab, grey existence can catch glimpses of the life-changing beauty beyond. And in the film, we actually see these little glimpses of beauty resulting in the saving of Penny's life. And the chorus of the Oasis song says, "Maybe you're going to be the one that saves me." I personally think the Oasis song Wonderwall fits surprisingly well thematically with the 1968 film. And despite how rubbish the movie actually is, I think through it we can finally define that word. What is a Wonderwall? To call someone your Wonderwall is to tell them that while most of the world is dark and lonely, they are your glimpse into another world full of love, light and life. So that would be my interpretation. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below if you would interpret this song a different way. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.